Welcome to Strictly on the Sofa.
The show where we overanalyse every sequin, every heel turn and every dance disaster, all from the comfort of our own sofa. And we are actually on the same sofa this week, which, not to spoil the illusion, but we do live in different places, so we don't always get to do this.
No, it's very
so
very
nice.
exciting.
Oh,
very
exciting, very coy.
None of those words made any sense, but we are delighted to be recording in the same place. I thought it was an amazing show.
So did I.
On Saturday.
So did I. I think it was crazy, and I wouldn't be surprised if they never used the theme again. But as something different and exciting and interesting to shake it up a bit, I really enjoyed it.
Do you know what? I wouldn't mind if they did it every year. Mostly because I think there's so many themes that they could have used. And I think there were a few missteps in this theme week. For example, Molly's theme choice was not great.
Yes.
And I think it's a bit sad that we saw her in the dance off because of it. Having said that, I think some of the themes really worked, and I think it's always the same. Someone always gets a duff song when someone gets something amazing, even when it's not
true.
a theme.
Yeah.
So I was just a bit like, I think there's a lot more they could do with it. I would love to see a paso doble to the Musketeers theme tune. When will they do it? It's a dream. Mind you, maybe they should just do that randomly. I don't know, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely bonkers. And I think that if there's any TV show in the world that can deliver something bonkers, it is Strictly Come Dancing. It was the perfect TV show to deliver a fitting tribute to the BBC, which is very often bonkers. Let's just think of some of our favourite bonkers BBC moments. I'm thinking of Guy Goma, the guy that got interviewed on the BBC because they thought he was a tech expert and he was a taxi driver. No, he was there to interview for a job.
That's it.
Right. Iconic.
How did that happen?
Bounce
the dog.
Yeah, the spoke stock. He's such a good egg. Just the weatherman drumming.
Yeah.
The not another one. There's just,
and that's just on the news as well.
Yeah.
That's not even BBC. That's just news in general.
This is just news. Yeah. So there's so much madness that I think that it's just perfectly placed to be celebrated in this insanely bonkers way. And so I thought it was perfect in camp, and it was everything I wanted it to be and more. Yeah, apart from the paso doble to the Musketeers theme, which the BBC owes me. So there we go.
Laura played it, because I've not really seen Musketeers. You did play it for me this week, and I have to say, it would make a great paso. So you were right. You were correct.
I did choreograph it as well for her. So you should see it. It's full of Spanish lines. It's incredible. Yeah, we start. So,
shall we start with the leaderboard? No, should we start with the dance-off?
Yes. It was. We're so sad to see. I mean, I hope you're probably listening to this on a Wednesday, so maybe a Thursday. We're late. But Jade left. Spoilers. And I'm very, very sad to see her go. She's a real presence on the show, I think, wasn't she? And such a big Strictly fan, and it's obviously just her and Karen are such a great working relationship that I really will miss them. And I think she really pulled it out of the bag for the dance. She did as much as she possibly could. I really like this dance anyway, but I think it was so much better in the dance off.
It was.
I wish she'd done it in the first place.
Yeah, I know. It's such a shame that it didn't hit as hard the first time round. But yeah, I don't know why. I did enjoy it the first time round as well. I did really enjoy it. I can't really put my finger on what it was. It wasn't as big as it could have been, maybe. I don't know. The performance was, for sure, but I think maybe like the physicality of her moves maybe weren't.
Yeah.
If that is fair.
Yeah, I think it sort of tailed off a little bit towards the end on the night, didn't it?
Yes.
And it didn't in the dance off.
It looked like she'd run out of steam slightly, and dance off, it just looked like she was like
giving it.
Yeah, emptying the tank.
Yes.
As you would say.
Yes, exactly.
Sports metaphor.
Ooh. Thanks for flagging it. Yeah, I agree. I think it was such a great concept. Obsessed with the double wigs. Like,
I
madness.
am, but I was so sad for Jade that she had to do her leaving speech and like her emotional moment in that stupid bowl wig. Also, they've used that wig so many times.
Oh, that's the Maria wig, isn't it?
It's the Maria wig. I've seen that wig so many times. It's so ugly. Anyway, very sad that Jade left. Sad to see Karen go.
Yeah, I really thought Karen would get further this year.
Yeah.
It annoys me, and I did say this on the night, that she got so far with Jamie Lang, who was terrible in every which way, and then not so far with Jade, who was brilliant and a much more soothing presence, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But nonetheless. And also, I think she might have been the only contestant to have chosen theatre jazz for their couple's choice. So, which brings us quite neatly onto Molly and Carlos, I think.
Oh,
Molly,
dear.
bless your little heart. I don't know whether you were... I don't know whether you chose street dance or whether you were told to do street dance because of this Grange Hill theme. Why didn't you do musical theatre jazz? You literally went to a musical theatre school. The whole point of couple's choice is that you choose the one that will show you off. You'd have been so good at musical theatre. I'm annoyed for you.
I know. And it just felt so predictable, like giving the school dance to the young people. And the thing is, especially with couple's choice, but I think for a lot of people in the show last night, it was a theme that really spoke to them or really meant something to them. Whereas for Molly, she was like, oh, this is a show from my parents' generation. Like, that doesn't mean anything to her. So, and also, the theme tune was terrible. Why didn't they do the 90s Grange Hill one?
It's got a beat.
So much better.
It's literally got beats to it.
Yeah.
It was...
And also, I didn't think the choreography was any good at all. And I genuinely don't think that is Molly or Carlos's fault.
I felt really sorry for Carlos when he was getting like dragged because I swear they looked at him and it was like, I don't think Carlos
choreographed that.
I don't think he had anything to do with that. I think he learnt the moves as best. Like, I just keep thinking about his ballroom tutor being in the audience a few weeks ago or last week or whatever. And I'm like, this boy has not been taught to do this style of dance. And he was obviously great at it because he's a dancer and he can take on a routine. But
what I said to you as we were watching it, I was like, the problem is that if Molly had, like, she was being given all this critique of, like, you could have done it like this, you could have done it like that. But if Carlos doesn't know that that's how you're meant to do street dance, or he doesn't know it in depth enough like that, how's he going to direct her to be any better? Like, he can't. So I felt sorry for both of them, to be honest.
Yeah.
I also had another really good thought and I forgot it.
Glad we
it'll come back to me.
I just think that they were both a bit like robbed, and I think I agree with a lot of the critiques about finishing the moves off and stuff, but I just think it was onto a loss before it even started because the music didn't match up, the choreography wasn't great. They were basically wearing the same costumes as Tilly and Nikita. It was the same costume with a different batch, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So it was just not good. Honestly, why didn't they let her do Nova Jones?
Yeah.
Because Nova Jones is part of the BBC. Like, it's quite new, and people who watch, know her, love Nova Jones.
A bit different.
And there's so many pop songs in it. It'd been great. Also, just do musical theatre jazz. I'm really increasingly worried that Couple's Choice is no longer a choice. Because I've not heard them explain their choice.
Yeah.
The first series, they all explained why they were doing what they did.
It was just messy. And Shirley was like, oh, you want to try and get some light and shade in there, so like maybe you're friends 1 minute and then that couple is then you're arguing and like there's a bit of like a story in it. But actually, I think that again it was a choreography thing. Like Molly couldn't have done anything to help that. I don't know.
It was just not great. I wasn't surprised to see her in the dance off as much as I was sad to, because she's obviously a very accomplished dancer.
So yeah, really sad to see Molly in the dance off. Sad to see Jade go. Not the correct answer for the night, I don't think. But let's move on and discuss the others. Who's next? So Tony was bottom of the leaderboard again, wasn't he?
Bless him.
I am so happy though that he is getting through and isn't in the dance offs. Like, he's obviously got the public backing.
I love him.
It's so lovely.
I could not speak more highly of Tony. I think that he is genuinely, without being coy about it. I don't know if that's the right use of the word, but we're here now. He is what Strictly is about. Like, because I know you like Jamie Lang, but I'm just going to compare him to Jamie Lang. I don't think Jamie Lang came out of that show knowing what a New Yorker was. Tony is desperate to learn and know that stuff. He was showing off his New Yorker in the Clauditorium. He loves learning to dance. And there is just something so... Like, because I would be terrible at learning to dance. I also would be the slowest person improving. But he is improving, rest assured. But he's also so up for it. Like, he's... what he said in the Clauditorium, it really moved me, actually. When he was saying that he really beat himself up after the first show when he went wrong, and he was like, what am I doing? I'm meant to be having fun. And like, now I feel like you've got him running around doing all these silly sports in the grandstand theme again, like Catcher Jones, a genius. But at the same time he's doing his New Yorkers. He knows what like his Cuban breaks are. I just love him. Please, like, I want them to give him ballroom a bit more consistently, because I think if Catcher can get his frame like right, he's gonna have a gorge. Like, he's so tall. His posture is very good for a like tall footballer. I think
it is. Yeah.
So I would love to see his perfect ballroom frame soon. I think a little bit less of a feeling that he's been stitched up would be nice. Although I think he sort of swerves it, don't you think?
He's going with it.
Yeah.
You know, he's going with it. He's playing along with it. So I don't mind, and it gives him the edge on other people. But I think you're right. Like, his Viennese waltz last week was great, and I think a couple more dances, more serious dances. The light and shade, isn't it?
The light and
what
shade,
Shirley's
exactly.
talking about. So just a couple more like that, then. Yeah, just to balance out a bit. But I'm quite enjoying the way they dances.
Well, they are great and they are memorable. They're always going to be on Gogglebox. They're never going to be. I mean, hated, adored, never ignored, right? He's going. I love him. I honestly, at this point in the competition, I'm not mad at him being in there. I'm not mad at him never being in a dance-off. I'm not remotely mad at people voting for him. I wouldn't be mad if he got to the final. And I was talking to Flo about like the difference between some other contestants who have been like, who is voting for them when they've been at the bottom and not as good as everyone else. And it is literally the effort. It's the effort that's going into his dance. Like, I don't know how anyone could begrudge him a place in it when he's trying so hard and wants so desperately to be able to Strictly Come Dancing. He's really embracing every moment of it, and I don't know how we could... I was on the radio and Stacey Dooley was there, and she was talking about how Strictly is such an experience. You're only going to do it once, and you need to really like live every minute because it is a dancing show. And she was like, don't, and I don't know, she was just giving great advice to all contestants. I hope they were all listening, mostly to me. But yeah, I just think that he is Mr. Strictly himself.
Yeah.
I love him. Anyway,
Lovely.
and also the dance, fine.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought 3 from Craig? I thought that was
Craig
hard.
is so
I mean, he gave that to Anne Widdecombe and she didn't do any content, so... I always end up comparing to Anne Widdecombe, but like, she's
so
the lowest of the lot.
Yes.
Oh.
Who was next on the leaderboard?
It was Jimothy Farewell.
Was he?
Alas, yes.
See, this is one that I feel like I'm just slagging him off every week, but like, I'm like, who's voting for him? Because everything you were just saying about Tony, like, I don't see that in, like, he's trying. I'm not saying he's not trying or putting the effort in. That's not fair. But it's just not... I will say, okay, I'm just trying to be kind here. I will say the first half of that dance, when he wasn't in hold and he was doing all those kind of long lines and he was really acting it and feeling it, I was like, actually, this is going somewhere. But then they got into hold and it just, I don't know, it just lost it for me. It lost the kind of passion and the drive behind it. It still looks like Amy is leading him.
It does, doesn't it? I think he's improving, but just, like, I would say he's even improving at a slower rate than Tony, actually. I know that Tony's lower on the leaderboard, but Latin's never going to be Tony's back. But it's more that, again, there's nothing really stopping James from being... Like, as you said, the lines in that opening... Right, so we watched it twice. Once we were getting ready for sort of like a few drinkies on Saturday night. And so I was sort of like running back for the dances and then going back to do my makeup. But anyway, I was watching the Jimothy farewell dance and I was like, Flo, this is good. This is so good. Oh my God, it's so good. And then he got into hold and Flo came over to watch it because I was shouting at how good it was. And it was like, oh, sorry, it's really bad. I'm really sorry. I oversold this. Because I think it was a dance of two halves, as Tony would appreciate, I'm sure. But I disagree. I think he is really trying, and I think his thing is he's not got the same. I don't know if this is fair because I don't know them. I think Tony's a lot more secure. I think Tony having that maybe fear in the first week has made him be like, no, I know exactly what I'm here for. And I think Jimothy Farewell is still a little bit scared to embarrass himself, maybe.
Yes, yeah.
And what he is, I think he's really trying. I think he really wants to be good at it. So I just think that he really needs a Charleston. He needs a breakthrough. People like this need to be given a
silly.
Yeah, he needs to be prescribed a Charleston. Like it's just, like he needs it, I think. And then I think he'll, because he's got the cheeky chappiness down. I think he's clearly a good actor. And the start of it, when they played the back, I was so obsessed with the fact they played the tinkly back of the cab version of the theme tune. I was like, oh my God, I love this. But yeah, I think it was a good. I love seeing a foxtrot as well. I don't feel like we don't see enough of the foxtrot.
That's true.
So yeah, I thought it was a good attempt. I'm not surprised to see him on the lower end of the leaderboard, but if he can just maintain his frame, I think he's got a lot of potential. It is genuinely a case of will he run out of time?
But people are voting for him.
Yeah, they really are in a drove.
Second from the bottom, and he wasn't in the dance-off, so obviously he's
It makes me feel sorry for Molly that the first time she's in the lower end of the table that she's in the dance-off, doesn't it?
It does.
But I do think it was a dance that didn't resonate, so it's not actually, hopefully not actually representative of her vote levels. 100%. But yeah, Jimothy Farewell is getting it's more like Jimothy, hello, people love him. He's clearly like Martin Fowler's fans everywhere.
Yeah. Never underestimate the EastEnders fan base.
No,
I guess.
Exactly.
Who's next?
Sorry, I need to stop doing that. Kim Marsh. Now this is low. How is she third from the bottom?
Thought this was one of the better dances.
Me
of the
too.
night. I really liked this.
Me too. Interestingly, Craig gave her a 7 and pretty much everyone else a 6. Like, Craig knew.
Yeah. What else did she get from the other judges?
She got a 7 from Motzi, a 6 from Shirley, which feels harsh. I thought it was good, you know.
I liked
it wasn't a chamazeballs, but I felt like she was shaky on certain moments. But then when she was in the Clauditorium and said she'd had a bit of a like crisis of confidence, I was like, okay, that makes sense because you were doing all the moves right.
Yeah.
But there was just a little bit like, not a sturdiness, a little bit of like steel missing, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I think her frame, like it.
Oh, it did collapse, didn't it?
Yeah,
they were right.
But like the footwork was great. I thought the personality and the movement and the dance and everything was great.
Really good.
And actually, but it does make sense because you said to me earlier in the show, like, I haven't seen Kevin Graziano in the Clauditorium at all tonight. And like, I wonder if she was having a bit of a moment of just like, you know,
I can't. Yeah.
Bless her, because it's so hard to bounce back from a dance off.
Definitely.
So I thought I definitely watched it and was like, that was really great. I really enjoyed that.
I think she did a really great job, and I think she would have done a better job on a different day. But that's the nature of confidence, isn't it? Sometimes nature of confidence. It sometimes comes and it sometimes goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially on a show like Strictly. I think Kim's getting a bad rap, and I really, really hope she bounces back this week because I thought that the judges were harsh. Their comments felt harsh.
I think they did, yeah.
Because I think she did it wasn't brilliant. I don't think it deserved to be low end of the leaderboard though. I said middle leaderboard.
Yeah.
Anyway, at least she got some votes because I mean she's so great, and I really like her and Graziano together.
Same.
And I would like to see more from them. And I think she has sort of had her breakthrough dance, but unfortunately, I think her breakthrough dance ended up in the dance off. So it must be really hard to feel like a breakthrough for her.
Exactly.
But I thought her samba was really good. And actually, I was saying to Flo, I was like, I'm a bit worried. I feel like there's not been. I always judge my finalists come on who has done the most iconic dances, the ones that I'll put onto my YouTube playlist. I was like, I don't think there's been that many. And then I was like, actually, I'm absolutely wrong. Because I do think Kim Samba gets in there because I love the clapping to the beat. Thought it was so good. This is from a woman who got told off at work for clapping too much. So, like, it's been pointed out. And, yeah, I think that and I think the Blue Peter Charleston, which we'll obviously get to, goes in the thing. Anyway, should we move on the leaderboard?
Let's move on the leaderboard.
Jade was next, so should we skip ahead? Oh, Jade, I just thought it was great. I thought it was a lovely tribute to Victoria
Love
Wood.
their shirts.
So much. And also more Victoria Wood songs on Strictly. That's what I say. Next up is Ellie Taylor. I liked this. The only thing it was lacking was oomph.
Yes, agree. And there was so much oomph in that stupid little sketch they did at the beginning, being like, oh, doctor, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And she put so much like ridiculousness and character into that. And then it lost it when it came to the dancing. I'm like, no, Ellie, you need to keep that. Mm-hmm. But what it was good and like very sort of like neat and tidy, and it looked nice, didn't it? But just didn't have the drive.
It's frustrating because she's got everything to be brilliant. And I'm hoping, and I don't know if I'm making too many assumptions here, that now she's got the technique down, that the oomph will now be added, because I think maybe sometimes when you're thinking, I think it might be Timothy Farewell's problem and why he was good at all the out of hold stuff, is that he can, when you're thinking so much about the technique, you're not thinking about the performance.
Exactly.
And she needs to make it muscle memory so she can add the oomph.
Exactly.
Because it was so good. I mean, the legs on her, the long kicks were brilliant.
Yeah.
It just wasn't staccato enough, was it?
Yeah,
but
it wasn't.
because
It was
she
very
wasn't
soft.
performing it. She was thinking, I need to move my head here, not I need to
Bam,
put
bam.
purpose into the move.
Yeah.
And also, a casualty tango is, honest to God, one of the best things I've ever seen.
I actually
Genius.
thought this theme, not the theme, but the tune worked really well for tango. So.
Molly's theme got caught in the famine that Ellie's caused. Like that, Ellie was eating on that theme, feasting. So good. I mean, the Scrubs outfits even worked. It was such a great tango song. This is why I'm saying I don't think this theme week was a fail. I think, if anything, most of the reason that people didn't like it was because we have bunched up themes quite a lot. So it's only been a week since movie week. And next week we've got Halloween. Although I don't think Halloween's a theme week. I take it away. I think
it is.
the costumes,
the costumes
are.
and the makeup
but
and
like,
everything.
It's not a theme week in the same way that movie week is. You might get some tenuous, like I'm just thinking of Shivers, the tango to Shivers that Rose and Giovanni did. It's a theme, but it's not like constricting them. I also think if you're gonna be, I don't think it's theme week's problem. I'm so defending theme weeks because I love them, and I think it's if the choreographers or it's a very delicate balance, and you need to not let the theme overshadow the dance. It's always the dance comes first and then you build it into the theme. Giovanni, for the most part, has always understood that. I think he's Catcher definitely understands that. And I think that it wasn't Giovanni's fault that he was in those horrible costumes.
But also I would say that is true for this casualty theme.
Right? It was a tango first.
It was a tango first, yeah. Was the Grange Hill was not.
No.
It was Grange Hill first.
Yes, exactly, because they got given a terrible song.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's not theme week's fault. Leave theme weeks alone.
I feel like we're saying the same thing every week. Do love her though. And,
me too.
I
She's
think
clearly
good
got
that she's got the audience vote. So yeah.
And her and Johannes are great. And I think it's more frustrating knowing that she has the oomph inside of her, because we see it when she hangs out with Johannes in the Clauditorium. We see it when she does sketches at the. I think it was particularly evident in this dance because of that. Because, should we go up again?
Let's do it.
Ellie Simmons. I thought this was undermarked.
So undermarked. I thought this was brill.
So, like a 6, Craig.
Craig.
A 6. It was so brilliant and intense. It was so dramatic. I feel like they've given people more for the. Right. Let us just bear in mind that she is a sportswoman.
Yes!
She performed that.
So much.
Like, I don't understand why she wasn't given higher marks for her performance levels. I know. I'm sure they've given people more for, like, being like, oh, it's not, you're out of your comfort zone. And just because she's taken to it easily, it's obviously still out of her comfort zone.
Yeah.
So I'm not having it.
No.
I'm not happy.
No.
I'm not happy, Benny.
Yeah.
I thought it was so good.
loved it.
I thought that Nikita is a genius. He really adapted. Again, another thing where it was a Paso Doble first to the Apprentice theme second.
Yes.
And also, like, really actually managed to... I was really worried he was going to be dressed as Alan Sugar. And they managed to really swerve that, having her... Like, I thought that was really good. Just the desk was doable. Also, I'm here for the illegal lift. Do it again.
I mean, I'm just sad that it meant that she had to lose some marks. But it was a great lift. It was such a good lift. So,
That's true. Maybe she should have got 7s and 8s then.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Well, it just feels a bit harsh taking the whole point off. Like, come on. Grow up.
You've got, there's rules for a reason, Laura.
Do you know what, though? I really missed them calling out illegal lifts. It's something really, quite camp about it. Like, oh my God, that lift was illegal.
It's when Craig said it was against the law.
The police are waiting outside to arrest Nikita. Breaking. Nikita arrested. I just love that whole concept that, like, a bit of rebellion. It made me miss the days of Brendan. It was like, oh, that's the rebellion I can get on board with. I'm very lawful good, but like, oh my God, I love a illegal lift. The drama of it all.
I also loved her hair and makeup in this. Very dramatic.
Very good. It was like the lipstick was a delicious colour. Delicious. That was the right word. It was delicious. It was a lovely colour. And yeah, I just thought it was clever adaptations.
It was very good.
It's quite sexy. It's what I'm trying to say. It was really good.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Who's next? Who's next?
Molly.
Oh no.
He's literally
I can't talk about this again.
No,
honestly.
I mean, I could barely watch it.
In the dance off.
Tyler and his tango. This was overmarked.
Yes.
In my humble opinion. I was angry with the theme though.
Yeah. This is a case where the theme did not overshadow the dance enough.
Yeah.
Which Doctor was he dressed as? I'm not even a Doctor Who fan. Well, I don't hate it, but I don't...
I spent a long
I'm
time.
not a weekly watcher of it.
I spent a long time watching it being like, that's not... And people who say it was Tom Baker, it wasn't, because he should have been wearing a scarf all the way through.
Yeah.
Like, if it was Tom... Like, it was... I was really annoyed. I was like, you've got... it's a celebration of the BBC, and it felt a bit like what we said about Molly's. Like, he didn't even like Doctor Who.
Yeah. But I think that hampered it a bit as well, because, like, Diane was having to explain to him what the plot was and stuff. Like, it just... Yeah.
There was no internal logic of the dance. I know that sounds like really, really picky, but it does change the drama of it. Like, because we were thinking, and this is another, I think Tyler was slightly, what's the word when it's like not like at a disadvantage because of how good Stacey Dooley's tango dance to the Doctor Who theme was.
So much.
Because theirs had an internal logic. You literally had her turning back time. Then it was against the sideman, and then she led. Yeah. So it was like her, and it was just so that dance is one of the best iconic dances.
It was iconic, and it also it changed things. Like, that's the first time we'd seen a woman leading because we didn't have same-sex partnerships then. Like, there were so many, like, really new, innovative things about it. And
honestly, this was a man in a suit. Right.
And I have to say, it was danced very well.
Yeah.
He is good.
Danced well, not very well.
I thought it was very good. He looks like he's leading now. He looks like he's got that drive that we've sort of said, like, maybe James and Ellie don't have in Hold, and so
and he's got the performance.
I think I want to give him credit where credit's due. However, I don't think this was the right theme for him, and I don't know, like you say, I don't know why they chose to do it again so soon after Stacey Dooley's iconic moment.
And if they were going to do that, they needed to properly embrace the theme, and it did not feel embraced. I mean, that you don't look at each other in the tango, therefore she should be like attacking him.
Yeah.
Although maybe that was the point. I don't know. I was saying to Flo that I'd have rather have seen Diane dressed as like the Doctor and him as the Master, or her as the Master, because the Master was a woman at one point, right? So like that would have been a really interesting thing. Or like, okay, I'm getting too Whovian about it, and I don't even like. I do watch it, but like I've been very remiss, and but it didn't feel like a celebration of Doctor Who at all. It felt like a man in a suit who'd wandered onto. Like, even if it was between Rory and Amy, you know, I would have loved that. A boat, like anything. I was like, but he's wearing nothing of anything. It just didn't sit right with me. And I think it's always going to underwhelm me then. So as I said, he was always at a disadvantage. I agree with you. I think he danced it well. His bum did stick out. I thought all the critiques were pretty fair. But then it annoys me because he got 8s when his critiques were pretty like, your bum stuck out.
Yeah.
I thought this was 2 8s and 2 7s.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me. I also worry that I'm developing it again. For no reason.
No.
For no good reason other than like his dances just don't really excite me that much. And yet he's like seen as a front runner. I think he's gonna take a spot. I'd rather see Tony Adams in the final than him. That was mean.
That was so mean.
No, I take it back. I just don't think his dances excite me. Anywho, but no, I think he's obviously great. I think I'm developing that again, that you get like when someone's being really good, and I like an underdog.
Yeah, exactly. He's being marked highly, and yeah.
But and also it's not his fault that the theme was not to my liking.
No.
So he was a very good dance.
Yeah.
And it's an undeserved again if it's an undeserved again. Anywho, should we move on?
Who's next?
It is from Tyler West to Flurry
Again.
But she got some marks. Like, Shirley gave her a 9.
Wow.
But Craig gave her a 7. I liked this a lot. I thought she looked out with theme again. I do think it's a cop-out. Give her a Euphoria at least, right?
Yeah, this isn't BBC to me. Like, I know Eurovision is on BBC, but it's not like it's run by the BBC or anything. And like Waterloo's, it's not BBC.
I think
I don't know.
I think people online made a very good point that they're obviously saving Spaceman for something, because they're not going to do Spaceman, right? But the fact that the BBC had a hand in choosing Spaceman seems like that would have been a more obvious choice for like how their relationship with Eurovision, because obviously they put a lot of money into it. Like, we're one of the big 6, right?
Yeah.
But something recent where we've had a hand where we've done really well, and it just felt like Waterloo was. I mean, it's a great choice for a dive.
Yeah, I'm not.
I still want an ABBA week. If I'm honest.
ABBA week would be amazing. So I'm not complaining, but I just, if we're being purists about the theme.
Yeah,
this one stuck out a bit odd to me. However,
the theming was incredible. Though.
Loved it.
Vito's wig was one of my favourite things. The fact that he was constantly having to
wig.
fight it. Yeah. I thought it was very similar to Shirley's wig. I thought it was good.
I really enjoyed it. I thought she did brilliantly in it. I'm starting to get a little bit of beef with Vito of the way
Vito beef
choreographing. What's beef in Italian?
Boeuf. That's French.
Anyway.
Beth. Oh. No, manzo, sorry. I was literally listening to the English translation. Manzo. You having manzo? Vito manzo. Manzo Vito. Il manzo. Il manzo. Right, sorry, we've been
just stuck on repeat.
How dare you? Right, go on.
Stuck.
Manzo.
I just think he crams too much into his choreography, and she is really good, and it works just about. But if you just put a bit less in and let her master the basics, I think it would be overall a much better dance.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It was obviously because it's a very fast song.
Yeah.
Wasn't one of the complaints that she wasn't finishing the moves off, right? And it was obviously so fast, and she is an accomplished dancer. She's one of the best in the competition, but he's taking that too much for granted. And yes, it's easy for him to do a really fast jive, and to do that because that's his profession. He's been doing it presumably since he was quite little. Like, if he just puts one less move in, she's mastered that to perfection.
Exactly.
And because she's a very, very good dancer.
She's amazing. She's such a good performer.
And
I'd like to see.
I feel like she's being wasted at the moment, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I do a bit. And it's not just that she's not mastering it, it's also like, is it an interesting dance to watch? Because it's the same thing Shirley said of the light and shade. Like, if it's all just 100% all the time, like, there's not the quieter moments or the that you can then build up to a crescendo.
Exactly.
Another Italian word.
Ooh. And I just felt like Vito needs to be more like sotto voce. That's not like, I just think he needs to be like just like he's got the first series syndrome, which is I need to show what I can do. Yeah. Which is, I completely get that. A lot of them have it. Like Giovanni and Graziano got told off for it.
Yeah.
And it was horrible when they got told off for it. We did not like it, and I don't think he should be told off for it. But he has got a case of the first series.
I think he has, and he's not being called out on it, which is what irritates me.
No.
Fleur's being told that she's too rushed and chaotic, and I actually don't always think it's her issue.
No, I don't think it is at all. But I love this as a drive nonetheless, and I think that if she gets to do it again in the final, I would hope it would be a bit more finessed.
Yes.
Because it was a bit chaotic, and it is the light and shade. I completely agree, but I love it. I still enjoyed it quite a lot, and I think 8 would probably be fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Will Mellesby and his waltz is next. Do you know what? This is a concept that shouldn't work, but very much did, which is again another sign that this theme week was a complete success. Who knew?
Who knew?
First of all, who knew that he was in Line of Duty?
Yeah, I know.
I still think it should have been a Paso Doble to the 2 Pints of Lager theme. Livid. Celebrate a bit of BBC Three, thank you very much. Having said that, it was great.
I loved this.
I love a dramatic Viennese.
I love a dramatic Viennese. This worked so well. The music worked really, really well. And it built up really well.
And Nancy she should have BAFTAs, Olivier Awards.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. He needs to sort out his hands, that's what he thought, isn't it?
Oh yes, a bit spade-like hands. Yeah. Surprised Craig isn't calling him out on
Spatula.
Yeah, exactly.
Spatula.
Yeah, but really, really, really good.
Again, someone that's determined.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Putting all the effort in.
Yeah. I was saying to Flo that he had said before he joined Strictly that he'd been quite wary of doing reality shows. Because he's an actor, a very serious actor. And I think that you can tell that in the way that he's so determined, because he's like, I'm not here for a laugh. Yeah. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. And I think that he is putting so much pressure on himself, and you can see that he is. And I would say, take a lesson from Tony and maybe dial it down a notch, because you also want to enjoy it. Yeah. I think he is, don't get me wrong. And it hasn't helped that he was really poorly last week. But I think dial it down a notch, because just make sure that it's meant to be fun as well as and you are really good as well. And sometimes I always think about footballers. So there was a spate of time last year when Marcus Rashford was just not scoring goals, but you could tell how much he wanted it, and the more he wanted it, the more he would make mistakes. And should I tell you the song from Bend It Like Beckham the musical that's called First Touch? And it's like, try a little less hard, give a little bit more, and then everyone go and listen to it. It's all about how put your personality into it, and it will all come. Try.
Perfect advice.
Right.
Perfect advice.
It's a great song, First Touch. I would highly recommend. Just enjoy yourself, Will. He set his bar so high, hasn't he?
So high.
So it's almost like he's got almost a case of the Bill Baileys. But Bill Bailey was, I know he won, but there was a dip in, I think Bill Bailey had 4 or 5 really, really, really great dances, and a slight dip just as he went towards the final. Pulled it back just before the final.
I think you're right.
Maybe the Lawrence Cheney's actually is a bit more of a accurate description.
Yeah, came out really strong and then sort of
dipped,
almost lost confidence.
Yeah,
because of having to keep yourself to such a high bar.
Yeah,
I don't think that's happened to Will yet.
No, but I just don't want it to.
That's the risk, exactly.
I don't want it to. I think this was a great Viennese, and if we're judging on this dance alone, I thought it was brilliant, really, really good,
really good,
and
so amazing,
really chilly. Chillsy. Goose pimples.
Give you chills.
Gives me chills, yeah. Next, Helen Skelton! Now, I actually think this should have been top of the leaderboard. I think it was joint top. But I think it was brilliant. I thought it was so good as a Charleston. I'm wrong about it being a Paso Doble. Although I think I was going off newer themes. I think this was the original Blue Peter theme. I think I'm going by the Pirate Sea one.
Yeah.
But anywho, not the point. I thought it was so great to see her personality. It was so... This is a good comparison between Vito's Jive and Gorka's Charleston. I know he didn't choreograph it entirely, but it was clean. She had time to finish off each movement. Yeah. Time to not... it was fast and she had to do stuff, but, time not to worry about whether that ball was going to end up in her hands. Like, she was working with props, and that's really difficult.
So hard.
Like, I don't know, I thought she did such a great job. But I think because she did have, like, the moments between moves, and it was jam-packed full of content, and it felt fast, but I think it wasn't overpacked.
Yes, yeah, I'd say that's... yeah, I agree. I also think that this was a really good theme for bringing her out of herself.
Yeah.
It suited her, obviously, like...
And she loves
so
Big
much.
Peter.
And it just seems very her, doesn't it?
It does.
So I thought it was really good. Like, technically, I thought it was amazing. I thought she
me
performed
too.
it really, really well. It was funny.
Yeah.
It was like... It was... And opening the show, I think it was a bit like, what?
It was another one of those moments where I was like, I'm going to put this in a time capsule to show to the aliens.
Yeah, exactly.
What are the human race like? Insane. No rhyme nor reason to them. They contain multitudes.
So I'm hoping that... I mean, she's been really good all the way through, so maybe she doesn't need a breakthrough, but I'm hoping it is her breakthrough.
I think it was a breakthrough.
It's the confidence boost I think she needed.
Yeah, I think so. She was obviously so good at it. It was definitely a final dance if she's going to be in the final, I think. I really, really rated it. I love Helen.
Yeah, I'm really coming round to her.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've come round. I think I'm around to her. I think she's... Again... I think this was a breakthrough, I would say. Even though she's been really good before, but I think this is her, I'm here, I've arrived.
She sort of felt like she put her stamp on this.
Yeah, exactly. And it was bonkers, and I just love it. I love this theme week. I just thought it was so funny. Oh, and it was camp. Oh, I just loved it. I also loved her hair, can I just say.
I also find it really funny when, like, the professionals, obviously, I assume Gorka's not grown up with Blue Peter, and he's found himself in this, like, parallel universe. He grew up watching his grandparents Paso Doble, and now he's on live British TV tootling around on Blue Peter thing.
And then the next breath having to watch a Viennese waltz to the It was just an insane show. I'm obsessed with it. Oh my god. Next time Antiques Roadshow. Anyway. Do we have much more to say other than it was brilliant? It was just so good though.
It's just really good.
I love her.
That's it.
Love Gorks. Gorks the Corks. Should we go on to Hamza?
Yeah. Is that top of the leaderboard?
Top of the leaderboard. Hamza, you haven't called me yet. I would love to go to the London Wetland Centre. I know where it is. It's very nice. I would like to spot some herons, some otters.
We're not going to start naming wildlife and birds again.
The herons and the otters are my friends. And we are all connected to each other. In a circle, in a hoop that never ends. I love Hamza so much. I just love him! It's actually starting to pain me. I'm getting jealous of you, Vita. I'm like, no, throw me around. Anywho, not the point. Again, really looked out with the theme here, didn't he? It was such a... I would go and... I don't know Imagine Dragons. I was going to say I don't like Imagine Dragons. I don't really know them. But I thought that song was very, like, musical theatre.
Yeah. It was a really good song to do this dance.
And it was nice that he got to celebrate nature. Anywho.
Anyway.
Back to Hamza. This was such a good quick step, wasn't
Yeah.
it? There was a moment where his little leg... I don't know what the moves are, Flo. This is terrible. We should research the moves. But when they were spinning and they were hopping... and his leg was up, and their leg was perfectly in sync. It was in the corner. It was in the right-hand corner. Yeah. If everyone watched it in the middle of the dance, I thought that was brilliant. He's so fleet of foot, isn't he?
He is lovely footwork, so light.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's gonna win, isn't he?
I don't know. I think he really could be in with a chance because he's really good. He's very sweet and nice
and kind, and should be my boyfriend.
But I also think it's a very strong competition.
Yeah, that's true. It is,
and you might be blinded by the fact that
I
love him so much that everyone loves him. But I think lots of people do. Twitter seems to love him.
Yeah.
So
I love him.
So yeah, I thought this was really good.
Their partnership works so well together, doesn't
it? Yeah.
They're both very patient.
Yeah.
I think. Very patient and good people. Again, I sense that he really wants to be in this competition.
Yes.
Really wants to. He
takes
seems
it
like she was saying. I think Yavita was saying in the Clauditorium how much of a perfectionist he is, and you can sense
exactly.
that he's got very
yeah.
teacher energies.
Yes, very much.
You love Ranger Hamza. What a week!
What a week!
What a week! I loved it. I honestly did. I thought it was camp, and it was everything I wanted it to be and more. And I actually. You might be surprised for a podcast that's about Strictly Come Dancing. I love the BBC. I think we're very lucky to have the BBC.
Yeah.
Not to go into BBC propaganda, but I think we are very lucky to have it. And I don't think we appreciate quite how much it gives to us with the radio. I mean, they could have done a tribute to the radio on there. Yeah. And the bonkers moments, I would have loved to have seen an interpretive dance tribute of Guy Goma getting interviewed. It's one of the best moments of my life. I watch it quite regularly. It cheers me up. I just think that it was a great tribute to the thing. It made sense to me, and even if you didn't like it, I hope it made sense to you. Do that make sense?
Even if it wasn't your cup of tea, it was nice to have something a bit different.
Yes, okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
She's more eloquent than me, but yeah. And also, there was one person in the world who didn't like it. An ex-pro. who we do not follow. But if he didn't like it, then maybe we all should. I jest. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great week again. And I think if anyone thought there was a dip, I think that they set the bar so high in week 4, it's going to be.
Just exactly. They can't be on that A game every single week. Yeah. I think that was partly it as well.
And also they were all poorly last week.
Yeah, exactly.
They were all coming down with the flu. Yeah. Anywhu, Halloween next week. I hope they get something as iconic as the shoulder shuffle from Shivers.
Yeah.
Oh, I still think about a shoulder shuffle every day. Stunning work. Rose and Giovanni.
Can't wait for Halloween. It's going to be so good.
It's going to be so good.
2 theme weeks in a row.
Oh, yeah. Although, as we said, Halloween's not really a theme week.
I think it is.
I'm gutted that Rina Sawayama's album's only just come out, though, because I think This Hell would be a perfect.
It would be ideal. I just don't think Strictly music producers have their finger on the pulse enough. But it would be great.
Upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's why we should be producers.
Exactly.
Be a good, I'm just thinking of the Molly King devil outfit that she wore when she did Better the Devil. Did she do Better the Devil? Well, she did devil themed dance with AJ.
Yeah.
Fitting. Thank you so much for listening. As always, remember to rate and subscribe if you wouldn't mind, because it helps get people to find us, especially on Spotify and all these places. Also, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram. It's Strictly on Sofa on Twitter and Strictly on the Sofa on Instagram. And that's that.
That's that. Have a great week, and we'll see you for Halloween.
Hello, Queen! I think I say that every year.